This is how mathematics is used in agriculture. In being a farmer and being involved in agriculture, planting crops is a huge responsibility. Everything needs to be done in the correct way in order to provide for the community. Some examples of when math is used in planting crops is area and perimeter, rows and distance, yield, and seed spacing. Harvesting is a very critical time in corn production. Corn, when harvested, usually contains extra moisture. Dry corn has 15.5% moisture or less. The time of harvest influences the moisture content of the corn, and this means money to the producer. Too much or too little moisture can potentially cost the producer, and he's losing profit. Farm yields are measured in crop weight per area for plants, and the ratio of seed input to seed output for grains, or in meat, fiber, or egg production per animal for animals. The yields are estimated using statistical methods of random sampling or total outputs of a farm, and exponential growth equations like PT equals PO times E to the RT are used to model how fast the plant grows and to predict when it will reach maturity. For poultry, cattle, and swine, and more of that, you're dealing with farm animals when you do math when calculating food amount and growth, disease control, nutrition, etc. Decision makings on nutrient dietary levels in the poultry and animal industry must consider economic constraints like the cost of inputs such as feed ingredients and the price of outputs or animal products to sell. The average amount of weight an animal gains each day over a period is the ADG, and that's when you find final weight minus initial weight divided by number of days. A simple algebraic method to determine the proportions of two feedstuffs needed to meet a specific nutrient concentration. You let X and Y be the proportions of feed 1 and feed 2. X plus Y equals 1, and then that's where N1 and N2 are nutrient concentrations of feeds, and N target is in target concentration. Manure and slurry nutrient estimation is mathematical models used in animal weight, growth, water, and feed intake, and feed composition to estimate the amount and nutrient content, which is nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus of excreted waste. In agriculture, the cost of things is very important. Pretty much everything you do in agriculture costs and takes some sort of math. And that math can be budgeting, finance, cost of production, etc. Marketing plays a vital role in agriculture, and it is something that requires a great deal of time and effort. Today's producers and agribusiness operators must be aware of the demands and trends in consumer buying and reason appropriately. One of the quotes from the U.S. Wheat Associates Chairman Michael Peters is, "We make a lot of decisions each year based on market conditions and expenses, and those are two things that tend to go up and down a lot. They are never stagnant." An important thing for customers of U.S. wheat to keep in mind is that input costs and the prices farmers receive for their crops each year go a long way toward determining which crops farmers choose to plant the next year. For equipment, farmers need to consider all aspects of their farming operation in order to make it successful. Farmers create mathematical systems of equations and inequalities to help them make decisions about which crops to plant in which fields. When farming, your equipment and the way it works is vital for a successful job. When using farming equipment, you have to calculate planting and harvesting yields, precise amounts of chemicals/fertilizers, etc. The constraints of farming can include cost of seed, labor, time, crop insurance, machinery, chemicals/fertilizer, and so on. And then gallons per acre, there's the equation, and a common equation is used to calibrate sprayers to ensure the correct amount of product is applied to the land. For production planning in agriculture, you have to plan things out ahead of time, make sure everything is timed correctly, calculate the best seasons for certain things, optimizing resource allocation with linear programming, predicting crop yields using statistical models, and managing finances through calculations for cost and revenue are all ways to plan for production using agriculture. Math comes into play majorly when you have to calculate production planning, and soybeans are often planted as a no-till crop following wheat or corn. This method helps preserve the moisture in the soil. Soybeans are planted in late spring when rainfall is less and the temperature is hotter. Therefore, it is very important to prepare a good seed bed. And these are all the sources I used for each category.